Number 7.
Number 7. This episode is about James Fitzgerald, 007.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, what was it like to start your strength and conditioning journey with James, being your mentor?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you switch your roles, in last season, you as a coach of James, preparing him for his CrossFit Games 2014.
Yeah. Yeah, like anyone will tell you, right? It's good. It's not even good. It's vital to have a good mentor, right? That's a very common thing amongst great bits of advice is to have a great mentor. My first involvement with my brother and training would be probably after grade 10, when I was trying to compete in hockey or be a competitive hockey player, and I'd gotten really fat. He started me off with some training because he suggested I should start training, both for the fact that I was chubby and for the fact that he knew I wanted to be good at hockey, and he knew that the value of training and what it could do to help me be a better hockey player. And then I saw that. I saw the benefit it had on me. Like within 3 or 4 months, I went from being I went from being still a pretty good hockey player, but then I was much better, even in the course of 3 months, because one of the weakest links I had at the time was I just wasn't in good shape, and I couldn't move my body around the ice the way I needed to. So that was the start of everything, and that was going into grade 11, and then I knew what I wanted to do in university. I knew I wanted to do kinesiology, human kinetics, just stuff around the body and physiology of it and how it works with movement. Because I knew before even going to university that I wanted to do what he did. Because I loved it. I didn't even know what he did. All I knew that he worked with athletes and worked with regular people and teaching them how to do training, all that good stuff. I had no idea. I just was like, I just want to do what he's doing. So then through university, he was still my mentor, and we'd talk about stuff, and then mostly when we first started, I was really, the only thing I knew really was Charles Poliquin and probably Westside Barbell stuff. That's all I really did. For 2002, 3, 4, and 5, it was 4 straight years of just Poliquin Westside Barbell based stuff. So it was all based on movement and bodybuilding principles and strength principles. And then slowly just shortly after he got into CrossFit, he was like, we would keep in touch over the phone, and then he'd be like, hey, you should try this kind of thing and see what it's like, and he'd tell me stories about it, and then as time went on, he'd CC me on his emails. He'd send everybody his results from each day of the workout of the day from CrossFit.com, and I'd see what he did, and that was like 2005, 2006, and then that's when I started getting more and more into it. It was 2005, 2006, and then 2007 came around. I was like, this type of stuff he was doing seems almost impossible. I didn't know how. I was like, I don't know how anyone could do that, because I would go and try it in our university gym and just be like, I can't do that. And then the games came around, and then he won the 2007 games. So if he'd gotten to go back to the games, he'd be 007, which is obviously it's a very good shirt. And then I after university, moved to Calgary, working full time with OPT and working with James, right? And it's just continued education. I always like to tell people that the 4 years of education I had through school taught me about as much as the first 6 months working at OPT. 4 years of school, 6 months of experience. I learned so much in 6 months that it was unbelievable. And then obviously, this is like almost 8 years later now, or 7 years later, over 7 years. So, it was a great start. He was a great mentor, still is. Was my first coach, really, with fitness through 2008, 9, 10, 11. Which were probably some of my best years, right? And it was good to have someone like him to kind of go through the ups and downs of like figuring training out. because it was kind of when he was really figuring out his own method and his own philosophy and developing it and starting to develop into a course, right, the CCP. So it was along that time where starting to figure things out. It went from 2004, 2005, kind of like, I'm not sure what's going on, let's just do CrossFit, figure it out, to, okay, I'm starting to see some principles, how is this going to work, to, all right, I'm starting to understand some more stuff, okay, I have some definite do's and don'ts now, and then as the years goes on, you're going to have more and more do's and don'ts, right? You're just going to know more and more and more about it. And then, yeah, when he moved to the United States, I took over here in Calgary. I bought Optimum Performance Training here in Calgary. And then shortly after that, in June 2013, he wanted me to coach him to prepare for the 2014 CrossFit Games for Masters, which is a humbling experience. I was honored and nervous to do that. Yeah, it was there was lots of stuff going on with him, right? Lots of ups and downs, as there is with a lot of journeys, right? Lots of ups and downs. But it was like what I would say I learned from coaching him mainly is that it's just like I would say for individuals like himself, where he has many years of training age under his belt, like 20 years of training age, and effective training, really, that those individuals are vastly different than working with someone like someone like yourself, as to how you can push you and how we can progress your training and your volume, and add in new movements and challenge you in new ways. It's different for James, and he's the one thing I learned quite quickly was that he's a very good competitor, and his training is purposeful and directed, and he makes it a priority. So he gets the best possible training effect he can, whether it be 3-4 times a week, not a lot of training, sometimes 5, but it usually be easier stuff. Yeah, and he battled through injuries and he worked around some stuff, which should have taken him out of competing. Honestly, he probably shouldn't have made it through, but he worked around it in the best possible way, and we managed it as best we could to try to keep him going. Yeah, and the goal was to get him to go to the games. That's what he wanted, and that's what he did. His goal was top 3. Didn't accomplish that. He finished 4th. Yeah, there were some ups and downs, like I said, along the way, and just I look back on it like it was a good experience, and it was very challenging. Yeah, and then hopefully I think he's gonna attempt it again for 2016, and hopefully he finishes top 3 next year. So how do you know my brother, and how did you first come to meet James?
Well, I was watching the movie Every Second Count. It was like 2000, probably 9, I guess, when Nico Sella won. And I was saying to myself, okay, this guy is special in terms of like his knowledge he was presenting in the movie, like his everyday, day-to-day work, the stuff he was talking about. Like he was special in my eyes. He was very different as opposed to other people in that movie, and he was very different and very passionate about like his work, his training, and it really caught my eyes. And I've never seen somebody or anybody that passionate about the work and training before. So immediately I started searching about him more and more. I found his old website on blog post. Well, I started reading all the articles, searching videos and everything I could find for free online.
Yeah.
So then after a couple of months, like discovering what's going on, who is that guy and where is he from and what is his goal and what I can learn from him, then I discovered he's doing coaching certification programs all around the world, and that I have an opportunity to attend, learn as much as possible. And at that time I was like training I call it functional bodybuilding and some basic conditioning work.
Yeah.
Mostly just running. Um, in the global gyms at the university. And I didn't know like how to. Yeah, I was kind of scared and I didn't have any experience how to like what is CrossFit and how to train in terms of CrossFit and how would that fit into my like schedule or my priorities and my own performance. So I was still doing some strength and conditioning stuff, but not too much of CrossFit because I didn't understand what's going on. Um, then I started being more involved and being hungry for new information and knowledge. Uh, and then I saw there was a CCP course in Sweden, in Uppsala, like in April, and it was program design. And day prior, there was a one-day mixed model training testing seminar with James.
Yeah.
So I said like, okay, this is a really great opportunity to learn new things and try something new. But I was very scared and I wasn't really prepared to start my coaching journey because I thought that it's really high level of coaching to start my CCP journey. So I just signed up for that for the one-day seminar. It was like December, maybe later. I don't remember right now. And then I received an email from James' wife, Leanne, and she told me like, okay, I saw you signed up for that one-day seminar. Don't you want to think about starting your CCP journey and like staying in Uppsala for a couple of days longer? And I was like, okay, this is some kind of invitation for me. And then I realized, okay, if I start my coaching journey with James, then it will be more serious, and I need to think about my future and how to use those knowledge, how to use the knowledge and information, so I can just try it and yeah. So I signed up for assessment and program design in Uppsala. Went there, I met with James in person. It was truly one of the best decisions, maybe the best one decision in my life.
Nice.
To start that coaching journey over there with James, and I'm coming back to Sweden every year since then. I've been there 3 years now, and every year I'm bringing more coaches from Slovakia with myself, so that they can start their coaching journey. They can explore new areas of knowledge and how things can be done. So I started doing some mentoring with them, and right now I'm kind of guide and mentor for other people in Slovakia.
Yeah.
So which is a really great opportunity for me to see how I see things, and to really know if my knowledge is in a how to say it, like if I understand those things,
Yeah.
such that I can provide those information to other people and be helpful for other coaches. And my goal currently is like exploring more other things with you over here, and then coming back home and improving the situation in Slovakia or Central Europe in terms of knowledge, in terms of coaching, and
You're trying to disseminate it, right?
yeah. And I think that for me personally, James was probably the first mentor, and he's a really great mentor for me. I'm discussing constantly with him a lot of stuff on their membership side, on the forum, and he's really helpful, very helpful guy, very humble, very open-minded, and yeah, I couldn't imagine having better mentor or better guide for myself than James, and I'm very helpful, very thankful for meeting him and like starting living and coaching. And I think that prior to starting my CCP journey or coaching journey in general, I was able to see 10 colors of the spectrum, and after starting with him, then right now I'm able to see, let's say, 100 colors. So like my spectrum is wider, and yeah, a very important thing with James and with you as well is that you are still hungry to give your clients more and more information and like poking them such that they can explore their innate potential, and I can be as coach as possible. And not just giving the answers like, okay, this is how it goes, use this information for everybody, but just giving principles which I can manage, how I think it could work for different audiences, and things are not black or white. It's all gray, and a lot of gray areas, and just giving principles, and you just give the information and then let it go, and it's up to me if I make it something. Like, it's up to me to apply it, to try it, and to see if it works or if it doesn't in like specific situations. So yeah, really great guy, James. Yeah, looking forward to meeting with him again.